Welcome back, survivors. Now that we have our Visual Studio Code set up and ready, it's time to set up our project's folder structure and files that we will need for our mods. Let's dive in. First, let's set up the folder structure for our mod, which should look something like this. You might be wondering where to create this folder for Project Zomboid mods. I'll explain how to do it on Windows 11 for a Steam build of the game. Open Windows Explorer and navigate to your C drive. Locate and open the users folder and select the user where Project Zomboid is installed. Find and open the Zomboid folder. Inside, you'll see a mods folder. This is where we'll create our mods, folders, and files. Now right-click and add a new folder. I'll call mine my first mod. Notice that the folder name uses camel case, where there are no spaces and each word starts with an uppercase letter. This format is commonly used in coding for naming variables, files, and more. Most programming languages treat names with spaces as separate objects, which can cause issues. Using camel case is considered a best practice for naming things. Now, let's continue. Inside this folder we just created, create a subfolder called Media. And then another 3 inside that called Scripts, Lua, and Textures. Then inside the Lua's folder, add another folder called Server. And in that, another folder called Items. And that is all the folders we will need for our mod. Now, let's open Visual Studio Code and set up our project files. With our plugins ready from the previous episode, which I recommend you watch if you haven't already, you can either click the video on screen or use the link in the description. The plugins will make it much easier and smoother for us to code mods for Project Zomboid, providing text highlighting and code auto suggestions. Now, let's move on. We need to add our mod folder to the workspace. Click the Open Folder button and navigate to the mod folder we just created and click the Add button. In the root folder, right-click and select New File and name it mod.info. This file will define our mod's name, description, and other details. Next, expand the Media folder, right-click on the Scripts folder, select New File, and name it item.txt. This is where we will define our new item. Then in the Lua server items folder, add a new file and name it distributeItems.lua. This file will specify where and how the item will spawn in the game world. With our files ready for coding, we will need some textures to work with. We will need one texture for a poster for our mod and another for our item that will be used in-game. The poster will be visible when enabling your mod. First, let's find a texture for our empty bottle. Since I am not the most artistic type, we will look for some free textures to use for our item. To keep things free for this series, I used GIMP to crop out the bottle and resize it to 32 by 32 pixels. I'll leave a link to GIMP in the description. Save the texture in the mod's texture folder and name it item_empty bottle.png. In Project Zomboid, item textures must have item underscore at the beginning of the name to show up in the game. So now that the texture for the item is done, we only have the poster left to create for setting up our project files. Save the poster in the root folder of our mod. It should be 512 by 512 pixels and named poster.png. And our project is complete. In the next episode, we'll start coding the mod and add the empty bottle to our game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. See you next time, survivors.